Happening now, Seattle's great social experiment with housing is officially underway. The voter-approved social housing developer, funded by a tax on high earners, has purchased its first building. Good evening, I'm Molly Shen.
And I'm Preston Phillips.
They're building low-income housing in Seattle, but for some reason they bought a fucking $60 million apartment building. Absolutely insane. I don't know. It's a cost of about $400,000 per unit, and I feel like if you're building low-income housing, you probably don't want it to cost $400,000 per unit.
Start moving in this summer, and it comes with a big price tag. Homo Senior reporter Chris Daniels live in Seattle's Belltown neighborhood to explain this evening. Chris?
Hi, Preston. Hi, Molly. Yeah, this one is a talker now. 3 years after voters in the city of Seattle approved creating a social housing developer and rerouting tax revenue into the hands of a publicly managed system, the entity has purchased this luxury apartment building for $60 million. And while it sounds like a lot, one could also argue that it is fair market value for what it would cost to build affordable housing units in this city from scratch.
I really don't think it would cost $400,000. Well, I don't know. We can't build anything in this country anymore, so maybe it would. I don't know.
It is a building just steps from Pike Place Market.
I really like how it's
They should buy as much housing as they can possibly afford. Yeah, but why luxury housing? And why build a pre-built apartment? Why do this in a way that profits or produces a profit for the owner of the current building? They're always doing this shit, man. When they're trying to build affordable housing, they're like, I know what we'll do. We'll spend $50 squadrillion on existing housing, luxury housing. And it's near downtown, isn't it?
Located
with peekaboo water views.
It's close to transit.
And now the front porch for a civic debate that longtime tenant Lauren Boyan found out about today. With
Pardon me for being a chauvinist or whatever. I just really don't think that low-income housing, specifically for poor people, needs waterfront views. You know? Is it actually luxury? No, it's actually a luxury site. To me, it just seems like a free, just a cash transfer from the city, i.e. the taxpayers, over to the owners of a luxury property.
A note. How'd you hear the news?
My friend Melissa, who lives in the bottom floor, she texted me the letter. We both discussed whether or not this was real.
The reality is that the Seattle social housing developer has purchased the Alara at the market for $60 million, with plans to convert the 150 units here into affordable housing for people who earn a fraction of the area median income.
We are able to show the concept quicker than we would through new construction.
The developer's CEO, Tiffany McCoy, says the purchase, approved by the board this week, was financed by the 2023 ballot measure and 2025 voter-approved funding mechanism to tax businesses with high earners. The revenue has exceeded expectations by tens of millions of dollars. Why this building a luxury?
Well, that's great. To be fair, even with eminent domain, fair market value will usually generate a profit for the owner. I just think that if you want to lower the price of housing for poorer people, you should just build large amounts of housing for cheap. I don't really understand the need to purchase a luxury apartment building and then refurbish it internally. You can just build new stuff.
The apartment building, why is that the first building that's purchased by the new entity to get people housed?
I would also ask what we mean by luxury. Is it having access to a washer dryer?
What's the benefit of doing that as opposed to buying units that may be a little bit less expensive to start out?
We just right now don't want to have a higher risk analysis with the buildings that we buy, and deferred maintenance.
I voted for it. I'm very much in support of Seattle being a community that can actually be a community, and that involves people of all different incomes, all different backgrounds.
Yet Boyan says she remains curious about the next step.
What's the actual plan?
It's not for poor people, it's mixed income, so higher incomes subsidize the lower incomes. I just don't understand why we can't just build large apartment buildings. Just a standard model, slap it down, build multiple identical apartment buildings, Soviet bloc style. We don't know how anymore. We should figure out how. We should find out how, if possible. I'm interested in finding out how.
I hope they're thinking through the surprises.
Well, the plan right now from the developer is to purchase another complex elsewhere in the city of Seattle by the end of this year before getting into the affordable housing construction process. Now, I am told by the developer everyone who currently lives in the building will be given a 2-year rent freeze, and there is now a lottery that opened today for people to apply for those first affordable housing units, and they will go to people who are making 0 to 30% of the AMI. That's the story. Live in Seattle for now, I'm Chris Daniels.
Yeesh. I agree, but I'm surprised how opposed this you are. I'm opposed to it because it cost fucking 40 million, 60 million, sorry, to buy the apartment building, and like that level of municipal expenditure for mixed income housing is just unsustainable. Like, all right, you've got like 200 houses, or like 200 apartments or whatever. Like it's not changing anything really, but the 60 million invested could have gone towards something pretty meaningful. The whole point of doing this from the perspective of the government, the whole reason for doing this on a municipal level is you're not trying to engage with the usual price inflation that you would get by running through the private market, right? You're not trying to do this for profit. You're trying to like make this accessible to a wider range of people. But if you're buying up luxury apartment buildings, you're paying those kinds of prices for it, you're sort of negating the value. It's a big chunk of change. Remember a couple years ago, Paris developed 50-something apartment buildings for, I believe, like 2 million? Was it really that low? Paris apartment blocks, new, cost per unit. Not buildings, my bad. Paris government apartment buildings, cost per unit to build. Give me what I want. Government-funded social and affordable apartments cost around 200,000 euro per unit to construct. I mean, that is half the size, or half the cost. Yeah, new social housing in Paris, 2.7 million euro equals 180k per unit to build, half the cost. And that's with like an irregular footprint too. Imagine what you could do by just prefabbing that shit. And I imagine land costs more, well, maybe not more in Paris than in Seattle, but there are empty lots in Seattle the government could take advantage of. And parking lots somehow. I wish. But I heard Seattle's trying to get rid of the 2-stair mandate. Washington did. We have re-legalized single-stair apartments, thank God. Yeah, but you're comparing a social housing developer that's entrenched with a completely new one in a different country. Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, in the long run, these efforts to make a city more available to poorer people through mixed income development and just building new housing in general will always fall flat unless the model that you're using, the approach that you're taking, is modular and widespread. Because the problem with doing this in a more expensive, smaller scale setting is that you risk embittering the taxpayer, right? Like, I can say, as a taxpayer in the fine city of Seattle, that I don't feel that great about our approach towards reducing local costs, being the government buying up luxury apartments to convert them to mixed income housing units, you know? I don't feel great about that. You want people to feel like their money's being used well. Otherwise, this stuff just ends up getting like deprioritized or defunded in the future. What's a single-stair apartment? You can probably figure it out based on the context clues provided. What's the makeup of that neighborhood? It's Belltown. It's Belltown. I don't know. It's well-to-do, but there's a lot of drunks wandering around. What do you want from me? Seattle, 60 million apartment. Based? Not really. Belltown has issues. Oh, wait, never mind. It's not Belltown. It's right next to Pike Place Market. Man, is that really the best property we could get? Like the best real estate right next to Pike Place Market? Like the most expensive area in the city, basically? Yeesh. It is Belltown? Oh, it is Belltown. So it's not steps from... Whatever. That is true. That is true. Multiple analyses have suggested it costs between $300,000 and $400,000 to build an affordable housing unit from scratch. Yeah, though in that case, you have an additional housing unit. You've built a new one rather than just taking advantage of an old one's existence. You have to make it so it's not so expensive to build. At the end of the day, you do have to just make it cheaper to build new buildings. There is absolutely no reason, sensibly, in modern society, why it should cost $400,000 per unit to build an apartment building. That it shouldn't need to cost that much. That's just not a rational number. Yeah, $10 per unit. That's what we want. $10 per unit. Feel like this kind of goes in hand with the Bed-Stuy gentrification. So what? Like only diasporoid Chinese college students should be able to sit on the steps of their Belltown luxury apartment? I can see it, yeah. There for UW. There's a reason all the new condos are all luxury. Yeah, it's the same reason why all the cars that American dealerships sell are like $60,000 pickup trucks, you know? They make higher returns on the luxury apartments. They make higher returns on the big fancy pants cars. Even if they don't sell as well, they're just blinded by the potential of a higher profit margin per unit sold.